Apparently, owning 1,000 books means you have an official library. So today we're going to see just how many I own. We have some pretty, what I would call shocking findings. And just as a disclaimer, I am never advocating for overconsumption or buying books when you could get them from the library or buying them new when you could thrift them or anything like that. But I think to each their own. I think the biggest thing for me is I never advocate for buying books just for the sake of buying books. Like if you're buying books for decor purposes, I don't really understand that, because I think every book on your shelf should have a purpose. And I think every book on your shelf should either be read or be waiting to be read, because I think they deserve that. So also, as I'm counting these books today, I'm going to do my best to break them down into categories to see just how many I've bought new, how many I've thrifted or bought used, as well as breaking them down into genres as best I can. So here in my living room, I have 2 bookshelves on either side of the TV here. But I also have a bookshelf in my bedroom, which I will be counting after this. Also, don't look too hard at this pillow here. That is a DIY in progress. So on this shelf alone, we have 126 books. I'm assuming that the other shelf is going to have a very similar amount. I'm estimating that we have about, I'm gonna say 300 in total, but let's find out. Okay, I don't know if you just saw this plant shaking like crazy, but we just had an earthquake, so. So we actually only had 108 on this shelf, and I thought there would be more than that. So I think my estimate of 300 might be a little too high. All right, so we're on our last bookshelf, and I don't have very many books on this one. And honestly, I actually thought I had more here. So my estimate of 300 was definitely too high, but let's take a look and see how many we have here. I was adding everything up from the 3 bookshelves we just counted, and it was right about 300 being overestimated. But then I completely forgot that my husband has probably 20 books or so kind of stashed around our bedroom on his nightstand and his desk. So we're actually going to count those too. Right now, my total is 252 books, but I think we're going to see that number go significantly up. I don't think we'll get to 300, but I think we'll get a lot closer. Okay, so now, mostly out of just pure curiosity, I am going to break these down into genres because I'm really curious which I have the most of. Okay, here's where we're at after doing the first bookshelf, and it looks like right now general fiction, literary fiction, modern fiction is in the lead. After that second shelf, the tides have turned, and it looks like the religion and philosophy category is now in the lead. So this is what we're looking at now. Okay, so we have some pretty, what I would call shocking findings, I think. After counting all of the other books in the room that I had forgotten about, It was actually exactly 20 more, so that gives us a grand total of 272 books. And I categorized these into 9 different genres, understanding that genres are a very flexible thing, and some people would probably categorize these differently, but this is just how I went about it. So our categories are classics, fantasy, science fiction, academic and political, poetry, religion and philosophy, general nonfiction, general fiction, which includes literary fiction and modern fiction, and then historical fiction. So ranking these from the smallest genre to the largest, we have historical fiction coming in at 5 books, which is not very many. Poetry, we have 12. Classics, 21. And I thought this one would be a lot higher because I did my degree in English literature, but I think when I moved back to California from my parents' house, I ended up leaving a lot of my classics in my old room there, so those will eventually come back out here, but I think that category would probably triple or more if I had all of those here. And then we have academic and political, which we have 30. General nonfiction is 35. And then fantasy and general fiction actually came in at a tie of 39 books each. Then we have science fiction, and this was also one that surprised me because I don't read a lot of science fiction, but my husband does. So these are mostly, the science fiction books are mostly his. And then the winning category is actually religion and philosophy, coming in at 48 books. So if these findings also surprised you, leave a comment down below and let me know if you have done this too, if you've gone through and counted all of your books, categorized them, and if so, which genre do you have the most of, which do you have the least of? Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe.